It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing until
Hey everybody, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Doc Severson with Ready Set Crypto. Today is Wednesday, the 19th of July. Welcome aboard to what we call Ready Set Live. All right, let's get into it today. How's everybody doing? Want to know where you guys are coming in from and what you'd like to see in terms of our analysis on the coin. So I'm going to do just a quick little around the horn here, looking at the most common assets, which is, of course, Bitcoin, which is doing quite well lately, although it's been consolidating, trying to hold 30,000. So it's almost like as the price goes to different levels, it's almost like moving up to a different floor. So you can imagine the rent gets a little higher the higher you go up in an apartment building because you get further and further away from the street. Well, you got to sort of acclimate yourself to those environments. It's almost like climbing Everest. You go up through different base camps, and this is what's happening. It's building a base, and it's getting used to being up at 30,000 again. And what happens is the floor of support starts to go up from there. Now, I still think that it wouldn't be hard, or it wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily for the price to drip down, maybe to about 28,000 on BTC for right now, just because Bitcoin has been trying to break out from this consolidation above 31,000 for the better part of a month now, and it's been unable to do so. So there's too much overhead supply sitting up here from people willing to sell. So this is the way that works. What happens is you end up dropping lower, finding a different bid for this. And in doing so, what you end up seeing is everybody gets bearish again, right? So everybody is like convinced that the price is going to go lower in perpetuity. It go down to zero. And so everybody starts to initiate short positions. And then this is where the institutions can really help us, because at some point that they determine, usually around pivot points or around important support points, they will stick it to the market and start to buy, especially as the liquidity starts to increase, right? So the more that you get the panic coming along, the more liquidity comes up, and this is where the institutions will look for that. And this is typically where we see these slingshot movements. So very similar to this one, very similar to this one. This one took a long time to come down to the $25,000 level that we were looking for, right? So that's what I'm looking for from BTC. Now, what we're seeing is some of these coins like XRP, Ripple, which I've given no amount of end of shit to over the last 6 years because it's been a terrible chart, and it's doing very, very well now. So part of this was the lawsuit where they said basically retail can treat this like a commodity, whereas institutional demand may be more of a security. I think there's still some confusion there, but it was a great win, I think, for Ripple itself. So this is good. So we're starting to see this really kick into gear, and today particularly is good. This is, we could have a new closing high for the year, up 7%. Even coins like Cardano, which has not been doing particularly well, is coming along not above the 200-day moving average yet. We do have Solana, which is starting to shake off the association with FTX, and is starting to trade above 25 now, above the 200-day moving average. So we're starting to see more of a broad-based swell. It used to be a month ago, it was just Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's it. And occasionally you'd see something spike and then get ripped down again. All right, so we got Stottle coming in from Philadelphia. We got Pilar from South Central PA, south of Harrisburg. And then we have Willeke coming in from the Netherlands. Welcome aboard, guys. Good to see you. I myself have coming in from beautiful downtown Greenville, South Carolina. We moved down here about, man, it's coming up on 4 years ago. That is amazing. So we left here. We left for here from Ohio and got tired of the winters up there. So, all right. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let me know where it is that you're coming in from and what you want to see. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, there is one other coin that's worth looking at today, and that would be our old friend Stellar Lumens. Now, this one also, and this is why I'm saying payments are hot right now, because Stellar looks to be coming along. So our old buddy Mav almost joined Stellar a few months ago, but that was not to be. That was not to be. So he's not there. He's not responsible for this rally. All right, so watch out for resistance at the anchored VWAP, which is tied back to the November of 2021 anchor. Okay, so that's going to be resistance for right now, but it's good to see some of these old coins, old friends that have been around literally forever, still struggling to find a business case, are actually starting to rip. All right, so what I'm going to do is, hey, Kaza, welcome from Ireland. Yeah, Mav's out in San Francisco now, man. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go based on your requests. And the first request I've got is QNT. So I'm going to look at QNT. And I will go until you guys run out of coins for me to go. Typically, we're here for about 30 minutes or so, or less than that. Okay, so not going to waste your time. We're just going to look at a few coins based on your request. QNT versus Tether right now, not a particularly good-looking chart. If we pull out, sometimes you can see all of this. It gets really noisy, and it makes no sense. So what we typically will do is pull out to something like the weekly chart. And QNT on Tether on the weekly chart shows that this is actually kind of a nasty downtrend. Kind of a nasty downtrend, which actually bottomed out in June of 2021. So that's not good. But this is what I will say about this, is that it looks like it's trying to put in a base right here. If it's able to bring above this base, so that's another lower high, but that's a higher low. So if it's able to break above this cluster of volume weighted average price indications, then, and once it breaks above 160, then it's going somewhere. But right now, I would say don't touch. I would avoid this one right now. Nose of Capital coming in from Pretoria, South Africa. Willicky is asking for HBAR. Let's look at HBAR versus US dollar. Okay, again, not a particularly good-looking chart on the weekly chart, but has some promise as of late. Has some promise as of late. Let's reset this. Now, this green line is the 200-day moving average, and the green line represents the mean of the price. The 200-day moving average is the mean of the price. So kind of above it represents a longer-term uptrend. If the price is below it, it represents a longer-term downtrend. Okay, so we just went over it. That's what we started with, was XRP. We started with XRP today. Must have missed our first couple of minutes there. Okay, so right now, HBAR is still below the 200-day moving average. So until it gets above the 200-day moving average and above this cluster, then I would still say I would avoid, right? So we're going to have the leaders making the space in the market right now. The market leaders are the ones that you should be following. It's only after that some of the weaker alts will start to rally, because people start to look for other areas of growth, and this is where we start to hit on all cylinders. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Okay. What will be the big resistance of HBAR? Well, we can look at that, and I would say it's going to be, the big resistance right now is it's got to get above about 8 cents, 7.7 to 8 cents. Right now, the floor is about 4, but it's got to get above 8 cents before it's going to be taken seriously and initiate the short squeeze from that point. Okay, Nose of Capital is looking for NMR. We'll look at this one versus Tether. And another kind of difficult chart, and it's very noisy. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out to the weekly chart, see if we can see anything here. And this is the weekly chart. We see a series of lower highs. So far, maybe higher lows versus last May in 2022. But for this one, what I'm going to use is the simple old descending trend line. As long as the price is below this descending trend line on the weekly chart, I would avoid. This one's got to get above 20 to get some kind of respect and to get some accumulation. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, Zadrazek is calling in from the UAE. Welcome aboard. Good evening to you. Or I guess it would be good morning. Can we check 1 inch? Yes, we can. Let's see if I can find it. All right, there's 1 inch versus the USDT. Okay, look at the volume coming in here. So the volume is actually pretty good. That's an indication that something's happening on 1 inch. Now that's the weekly chart. We can't see much from that. So we'll go into the daily chart and see what's going on here. A lot of activity here. So I think that's good, but the problem is that it tried to get above the green line, which is the 200-day moving average, and got firmly rejected. So again, I don't know what the cause of that would be or why that happened, but it is moving down. So it's giving back all those. So I would say still avoid until we can get this thing above the 200-day moving average. Okay. Yeah, so Florida, I went over XRP at the very beginning here and talked about how the shift, for the longest time I said it's got to break above 55 because it's got to break above 55. Right, if you go out to the weekly chart, you can see this base here, this base at 55 with a neckline at 55. So that had been setting up literally for the last year, just wham, 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 wham. And once it builds up enough energy, boom. And what I wanted to see was the big volume through there. I don't know if I necessarily got the big volume, but that doesn't necessarily have to happen as long as it sticks up here. Good volume typically means that somebody's getting bent over. And that would be better to have that volume. But so far, so good. I like what I'm seeing. And the next level of resistance that this has got to get over is about $1. So if XRP is able to get over $1, then this is totally legit. But until that point, we could still see some pullbacks in this area. All right, next up is Willicky is looking for Solana. Is Solana still a buy? Well, it never was. It has not been a buy for a long time, since 2022. Right, so once it broke this ascending trend line, this has been a sell with a lower high. This has been a sell for a long period of time. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of activity and a little bit of volume here. But this was the area where it got conflated with FTX and got taken underwater with FTX, so you can see where the volume is there. So what would we have to see for this one to show as a buy? And I think I'm still going to go back to, I'm going to steal this trend line. And this is the simplest way, and it's the most effective way to stay on the right side of price. So this trend line, I think, is probably going to be pretty effective. Now, if we go down to the daily chart, we're going to see this in a little bit more detail. So this is above the cluster. This is above the cluster, but it's below this trend line. So what I want to see is, you can see that reacted at the trend line. I want to see this pull down and then blow through that trend line and make a new high. So that would be a long above 32. a long above 32. If you want, you can take like an RSI Laguerre entry. An RSI Laguerre entry would be like this. And we would look for the blue line to come down here and then hook back up again. And that will be your signal once the yellow line. So what we'd want to see is the yellow line bulling back up here, showing full energy, and then seeing the hook. And that would be your earlier entry. Otherwise, you can simply take the long above 32. Okay, so that's Solana. Now we're going to go into INJ versus Tether. And this one actually looks a lot better. This one looks a lot better. Can you see? I wish Coob was here, because Coob would be saying, hey man, look at the cup. Look at the cup, and is this going to bring off a handle? A cup with handle is a very valid pattern. So what happens is the price gets back up to the neckline, and then it consolidates and gets ready for the final launch. So a cup with handle is a very valid pattern. Let's look at the larger. So if we pull back and see, we can see that there's some context and some history to this. But what I like about this is that, so this trend line has been broken. So this is now on the weekly chart. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is a weekly chart. On the weekly chart, this is now showing a series of higher lows and higher highs. Also, can you see that we had this sort of rounded base down here, which eventually broke out of? So get used to looking for rounded bases, guys. Rounded bases, and then a breakout from there. Descending patterns will break to the upside. And now we've got this sort of little cup with potentially handle. So I'd watch for the breakout above 10. This looks actually pretty good. So that's for David Chapiton. And I will do render token for you as well. All right, render token. Okay, again, this is the weekly chart, so I'm just looking at this. Actually, these almost look like identical charts. They're very, very similar to each other. This one is starting to work on a weekly chart basis, so we're starting to reverse. Notice the same thing here. Notice this rounded base down here, and it broke above the rounded base. So this is very close to what INJ went through. So do you buy here or not? Well, what I would say is, again, this is holding above some important support levels, which is good, but I'd probably want to wait for the breakout above 2.2. Wait for the breakout above 2.2. Wait for this trend line to break here. So wait for that trend line to break above 2.2 on good volume. What's happening is as the price was going higher, notice the volume was pretty big over here. And then as this has gone into consolidation, notice the volume has been tailing off. That's actually a good sign. It's actually a good sign. They're just swapping back and forth. Look for a big volume spike as the price blows through 2.2. Okay, so David will go back and do Ethereum as well too. We'll just look at it off the watch list. Ethereum has been kind of a mess, to be honest. It's been pretty sloppy for quite some time. So it's in a general uptrend, just like with Bitcoin, but it's not quite as strong. It's not really as crisp as the price action that we're seeing from Bitcoin. But it's fine. You can see that we tried to, Ethereum tried to break above 2,000, and the market was having none of it. And so this is why I think that we might see this pull back first to create that slingshot move. We might see this pull back first because the breakouts that it's tried have been all rebuffed. All rebuffed. All right, let's see, next one. So that was for David. And then we got Randy coming in from the North Carolina mountains. I can see the North Carolina mountains from my backyard. So Hey, bueno. So, yeah, beautiful up there. We went up there a couple weeks ago to a vineyard up in North Carolina mountains. And man, just driving down 26, just gorgeous. What a gorgeous state. So very happy to be close to that. I got sold on that like 15 years ago. We went down to a family trip at Lake Lure, and I'm like, I've got to find a way to live around here somewhere. So for those of you that don't know the area, if you've ever seen the movie The Last of the Mohicans, that's basically what we're living in the middle of here. So it's just a really, really pretty area of the country. But lots of other areas of the country that are very pretty. And I saw a section on, one of the countries I've got to see is there's a guy that comes in here from time to time. He's from Slovenia. And I have got to see Slovenia. That it looks like absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I think it's one of my desert island top 10s. Last of the Mohicans. Just fantastic. All right, next one. I'm rambling. Okay, so next one is for Randy. I'm going to go look at Cardano. So, yeah, we talked a little bit about Cardano. It's having difficulty getting out of first gear, right? So Cardano is still setting up the base down here. It's having difficulty getting out of first gear. And if we look at the weekly chart of this, the weekly chart is particularly horrific. Right, so all of this is just down, 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 down. So what we have to see from this before we're going to get any kind of activities, we're going to have to see some of these descending trend lines get broken. Now, Cardano will have its day if there's a business case for it, although we don't necessarily have to have a business case for some of these tokens to run. They just have to be underpriced and they will run. But my preference is to acquire assets that are increasing in price. I don't like to buy on the way down because what is low can get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And I've been through that before. So I will not buy anything unless it's increasing in price, unless it's like a BTC or something like that where you can make a fundamental case of buying in a downtrend. Okay, next one. Next one. Thanks, Randy. Okay, Tigress. Can we see Tigress? I can't see Tigress unless I do it wrapped. Well, we can try the USD coin. That doesn't look very good. Okay, so let's try something else. Let's see if we have wrapped ether. A wrapped ether is only marginally better. So this is a very, very new, that's a weekly coin. This one's very new. It's actually, price action is pretty good because what it's doing is it pulled up here on OK volume and it's setting up a consolidation. So if this is truly in accumulation, what you'll see is breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation. So let it consolidate, look for the breakout, take yourself into a breakout, or if you want to, you can take a pullback on this. But there's not much I can say about this one because it doesn't have much history. It just goes back to the beginning of the month or last month. So there's only about a month of history on this one. So thank you, Colin. Colin in London. I have to say, I mean, I don't know if it's as cool to admit this or not, but I've sort of started to follow Arsenal, and I'm going to take no end of shit for that, no doubt. But like, it's been hard to follow the Premier League from this country. But they're changing that. There's more and more and more of a demand over here for Premier League games, and they're starting to play more of them. So, so don't tell me you're a Tottenham fan. That will instantly get me on your list. Okay, so let me go over to Bart, and I'm going to go to XMR before I get into any more trouble. Okay, Monero actually looks really, really good. This is one of the better charts that I've seen. Well, yeah, one of my good friends is a Manchester City fan, and his wife is a United fan. So I don't know how they keep harmony in that household, but yeah, I've known him for 40 years now. Okay, so Monero, I think, looks really, really good and is consolidating really beautifully. Although this has got to keep up the trend, it's got to break above 172 when it's ready. It will probably happen around the same time that Bitcoin does that. Okay, let's see. Thomas, or is it Tomas? Could I do Hex and Vex? Certainly. All right, let's go do Hex. I haven't done Hex in a heck of a long time. We are going to do Hex versus Tether. We'll try that one. Ooh. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, that's a brutal chart. I am sorry. I'm sorry. There's not much I can say on this one. This one is in a void right now. Hex was doing so well for so long there earlier this year and not doing so good right now. Okay, so can't say much about it. This is all below moving averages. It is just, versus Tether. And that's surprising because the US dollar is getting destroyed right now. So that tells you how strong this is. So Hex, I would say avoid. Be careful with this one. All right, the next one you're looking for, Tomas, is Fex, which I have never looked at. And there's probably a reason why I've never looked at that. Are we talking about Phoenix? Yeah, if you can give me some clarification on that, I'll take another look. But I can't seem to find it. Okay. Any other requests coming in? Okay, so PHEX or PAX Gold. Let's try looking at PAX. Oh, there we go. PAX G. PAX G. There we go. Hex on Pulse Chain. This one actually looks really pretty good. So what we're seeing is, now this may be different from what you see on Pulse Chain because I may not be able to, I don't think I can chart what's on Pulse Chain. But right now, if we're charting versus Tether, this is showing some good accumulation. Now, what we have to watch for is this has to get above 1960. So this can't set up a lower high and then break this trend line. If it breaks that trend line, it's all over, out you go. All over, out you go. So that's Pax Gold versus Tether. I don't know, again, if on the Pulse Chain this is going to look different. Okay. SC. So Bart, I'm not sure what you're looking for there, SC. Okay, any other questions? Any other coins that you guys want to look for? Anything else? Anything else? Don't forget, if you're, SC coin. Yeah, there we go, the closing bell. SC coin. So is that SIA coin? I hope so. SIA coin. All right, so we're going to look at this versus OKX. And this one is a mess. It really is a mess. All that work in 2021, it's given it all back again. So it's got to set up this new base down here. And this one's going to be, it's not going to be leading the pack. Eventually this may run, but you're going to have everybody else clear the decks for it. You're going to have everybody else open up the lines for this one for it to run. Okay. So, all right. And so the last one I'll do for today is Tomas wants to look at gold. And what I'm going to do for gold is, this is just the easiest way for me to do this, is just to look at the GLD, which is an ETF. And what I'm seeing here, this is a great big, so if we pull out to like a monthly chart, this is a huge pattern. If you guys ever want to know what a cup with handle looks like, this is a cup with handle. There's a cup, there's your handle. So we've had people watching this for literally, this has been setting up the handle now for almost 3 years. This is what gold does. Gold sets up these enormous patterns and it destroys people in the meantime because people get impatient and they want to break out on their terms and not when gold wants to do. Gold will move when gold feels like moving. And right now we've been in 3 years of the handle pattern of a cup and handle pattern. So this is ultimately bullish. The measured move target for this is going to be about 90 points or about 900 points on gold. The measured move target is about 900 points north of that breakout at 1900, I think. Right. So this one's going to frustrate everybody. It's going to wear people out before it breaks out. It's going to break out at the exact moment when everybody quits looking for it. So there you go. Hey, everybody, don't forget to check out our service at readysetcrypto.ONE, readysetcrypto.ONE. We have signals, we have educational courses, we have a great little platform, and you can check it out for free for a week. So go ahead and take the plunge for free and check it out. Thanks, everybody. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you shortly. I'll see you in the next session that we do. Thanks, everybody. You guys take care. Bye now.